Hello, and a welcome back to you. I opened up this episode sharing a little bit of the overwhelm I've been feeling, as this time of year feels a lot like January 1st to me. And we took about 7 questions today. Chris joined me for this one. A lot of them had that feeling of, how do I start again? How do I find my mojo and my momentum now that we're into a new season and summer has come and gone? Hey, it's Ange Peters, and welcome to Whole Fit Talks, a weekly broadcast streaming live on the Whole Fit Facebook page. So excited to have you join us as we jam on living, loving, and leading a supernatural life. All right, checking connection. Breaker 19. Welcome back. Welcome back. Do you want me to keep going?
No, stop. We're good. We're good.
Hello. Hello. We had a bit of a smoothie mishap about 2 minutes ago, so we were almost late. I need to re-educate you on how to make the perfect smoothie. Do you all know how to make the perfect smoothie? Or shall I review that really quickly while you learn as well?
Guesstimate a couple cups of water.
Nope.
Spinach.
Already wrong. This was the problem. The perfect smoothie does not use water. It uses a nut milk because you need creaminess. It uses 1 cup to be exact. Do you want to take notes?
I think I got my notes downstairs off camera.
Okay, I'll school them later. 1 cup of almond milk, half a cup of frozen fruit, 1 scoop of protein, 2 cups of spinach. Blend.
Done. All right.
Hi, you guys. Welcome back. We are back. We are so excited to be with you. Nice to have my man with us for our kickoff episode. All right. We have much to get to, but welcome back. How many of you feel like right now is January 1st? Like this is the energy of New Year's, right? Right now. So great time to kick off the new season. We took the summer off. We were quite busy this summer, as I'm sure most of you were. We worked on backyard life. We went to Italy.
Yep, went to Italy.
With our favorite doTERRA people. We went to Alaska. Saw some very
whales.
Overwhelming sights there.
Saw some whales, saw some seals.
We bought a home in Florida, which was a dream come true and some work involved. And I launched the new Whole Fit. It was a busy summer. I have a cherry in my tooth. It's probably not the best way to start. But anyway, we wanted to welcome all of you guys live. I'll end up editing this beginning part out when we upload this to YouTube and to the podcast. But say hello if you're on live, and welcome back if you're a first timer here. We stream weekly, Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern. New time this year. That seemed to be some of the feedback coming in through the survey that we did. I'll talk more about that in a moment. But this time works a little better for not only us, but for many of you. And a lot more of you watch the recording. So anyway, I always like to honor those of you that are on here live. Hi, Bex. Nice to see you. Kathleen, Catherine,
West Shore
Carla, Yolanda, West Shore Boards. West Shore Surf.
Don't ever call it West 49.
Right. Sue, Lori, Jackie, Amy. So good. This is fun. And we are streaming over on Instagram as well. So if you have friends in those places, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, you want to tag them real quick, we're going to dive in. But like I was saying, I opened up saying, summer's been really busy, like it is for all of us. I think we always head into summer with this sense of, oh, good, we get to
take it easy,
chill and barbecue and just relax into it. And summer for a lot of us ends up becoming very busy, especially if you have kids, right? And here in Canada, the kids went back to school this week, right? So I think we're all starting to sink into that feeling of, okay, we're here, we're in the new normal. And I don't know if you saw my post over on Instagram, but I felt like earlier this week, I couldn't breathe. I just felt like it was the intersection of everything that was going on in the summer, and then realizing, oh my goodness, the kids are back to school this week, and so much change happening all at once. And it all just hit me, and it was like this overwhelmed stew. And here we are. The interesting thing is, it was a very engaged post. You know, after I had posted that, a lot of our community, a lot of you maybe commented on that post, just saying, you know, you've been feeling the same way. And I think it's normal, right? When we have that change of season, can you grab me a charger cord for this? When we have that change of season, we sometimes just feel like we haven't prepared properly for it. And that was me, for sure. I felt like it was all coming in so strong. So right now this week, I'm just really working with the energy and the emotion and kind of the angst that's been coming up for me to write a new normal for this season. And just, I'm going to actually leave that as part of our homework at the end of this episode, is to encourage you guys to join me in this process. If you're feeling overwhelmed, to ask yourself, ask your life some important questions, VIP questions, as you switch gears into a new season. But thank you guys for your comments and for being encouragers. Really, truly, I think that the power of social media can be felt often when we just come together and acknowledge what's going on, and we can use social to uplift and inspire and encourage. And I love all of that. And when we're being, you know, transparent, when we're struggling, that we share with each other, and sometimes it's just helpful to know that somebody's going through the same things you are. So I realized I wasn't alone there. But how's back to school going, mamas? One of the ebooks I have in my, I'll just pop it up here as a link. Hi, Insta. One of the, there's the website link for those of you that are new, but I'm going to pop up an ebook link really quick. I have a back to school ebook that is in the library there. It's $10, and I basically go through the routines and rituals that we do. Our girls are 6 and 9. So a lot of what we do to just create healthier rituals this time of year. So you might find that helpful. But comment below, share what's like one thing that you love to do when the kids go back to school, just to get everything, you know, straight and set in motion for the new school season, and to be healthy through it, right? I think that's really a big challenge, is to navigate the change of seasons. Not only the temperatures start shifting, but also just the change in our rituals ends up causing a lot of stress in the home sometimes. So that can really affect our immune systems. I'm going to be planning an immune system class in October. So I'll tell you more about that at that point. Do you want to come on in here? Yep. You won't be joining me every week. This is special. Let them see you. Okay, so a few quick updates, and then I wanted to go through some questions that came in for the show today. As most of you know, this show is a Q&A style broadcast. So I want to review some of the things that came in through the question queue, but also in the survey. A lot of you took time to give feedback on topics and things that you'd like to see in the next season. So quick updates. I've started the newsletter again. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I've resisted this for 2 years. I stopped sending newsletters a couple years ago because I became, at that time, really protective over my inbox, and personally unsubscribed from everything. I just felt like things were so noisy out there. And then I heard from so many people in the community that they wanted to have something where they could find everything, because, you know, with all the ways you can reach people today and the way that you can engage with people on social media, sometimes it's really hard to find the things that you're actually wanting to find, right? So the newsletter is starting up again. I've sent 2 this week, just as we were gearing up for the show to start, you know, as a reminder, and with the new time change and everything. But going forward, honestly, my plan is 1, maybe 2 emails a month, because I don't like my inbox to get clogged up, and I certainly, you know, believe you're the same there. There's so much coming at us. So I just have the subscribe link. If that's you, if you want to have 1 or 2 a month, that will give you a recap of any blogs I've done, maybe the top social media shares, and then the podcast episodes from the last month. It'll be nice, quick links for you. And then of course through that, you'll be the first to know about any health programs or anything coming up that I'm running, classes, things like that. So there's the link there. Second thing, I just wanted to mention the Rocking Vibe Legacy Noir sold out. We launched this as a collaboration. I keep saying we, but I guess this is definitely me.
Yeah.
We launched the Rocking Vibe Noir legacy piece this past Saturday. I don't know if you tuned in for the virtual shop party we did, but it sold out. So these are on back order right now. I did just want to mention they will be back in mid-September through the Rocking Vibe shop. So if you, let me just post this up really fast as a link. Had my links ready to go today. The Legacy Noir, it's in the product shop of wholefit.com. It'll take you to the page there, and you can actually, I think you can put yourself on the list for when it comes back in. So I just wanted to give you an update there, but that's pretty fun. This piece is just fierce and gorgeous, and I can't wait to see some of you in it when we go to Utah in a couple of weeks, right? What are we like?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think exactly 2 weeks from today. So that'll be super fun just to connect with everybody there. The last thing I was going to mention before we get to some questions today is on the weekend, I got to totally fill up my cup by having about 40 of the local high-level leaders on my wellness team come over to the house, and we did just a nice day of connection together. We did yoga, we had smoothies, we had this great catered lunch by a local chef, Yoda, and then we did a little bit of sister minding. And I told them they weren't allowed to do any small talk during this hour and a half of sister minding. So I had sent some questions to them, and it was just a really nice day, nice time of year. It was September 1st, so really capturing the energy of the new and getting together before convention and the craziness. And hey, Colleen, some of you are on here right now. It was just my heart felt so full after that day together. And you know, the one thing I opened up that day sharing with this group, and I mean, these were, like I said, 40 of some of the highest level leaders on our team. You know, well over 50% of that group is earning 6 figures a year, multiple 6 figures a year. They are the leaders, okay, of our Whole Fit Wellness team. And what I opened up sharing with them was just they are amazing because they have not quit. They have not quit on their dreams. They have not quit on their teams. Most of them have been in this with me now for a little over 4 years and have created the kind of life and insurance for their family that they'll have their whole life. This work that we do is so powerful. And globally, I was looking at some numbers as we're getting ready for convention, where we tend to, not tend to, but where we get really excited to celebrate and recognize each other and just be together. Convention in Utah draws like 40,000 people a year to Utah. And even though it's not a leadership focused event, we recognize the leaders for sure through just a celebration morning. And we have 30 to 40 people that are walking and being recognized at convention. And globally on our wellness team, even we had 40 over to the house, but we have well over 50 that earn multiple 6 figures a year, you guys. Like what they have created for their families, in their life, in their communities is huge. But what I love most is that they model what is possible when you don't quit. And it was interesting as I was looking through the survey for today, a lot of the questions were around that topic. You know, how do I inspire more people to dream bigger? That fine line between leading a team and inspiring a team and not doing the work for them, right? Because at the end of the day, we all have to own that. And I certainly get excited about the word legacy and what we are all modeling and living today, because we can do anything today. And I want part of my legacy to include that I taught what was possible through my own example and my team. I mean, they are the reason that I want to keep dreaming big as well, because I know everywhere I'm going, they're going to, right? So anyway, it was a great day. All of that to say, I'm going to do a blog post next week with how to prepare to gather, the little things, kind of my process when I want to create a nice experience with people. So for those of you that have teams local to you and you want to bring people together and have a sister mind of your own, I'm going to do a post on that to help you out. Okay, so we have some great questions for the show today. We take questions, and Chris joins me once or twice a month for this broadcast. So sometimes when he can weigh in with his perspective and just his life as dad in this home and being a firefighter, he certainly brings great value there. We take questions on health and wellness and leadership and just really owning it. That's a lot of what you'll get from this time together, is that you have the opportunity to own your health, to own your success. And maybe this is your tune-up each week. And that's certainly what I want you to feel when you come together here, that it's a conversation. As I was looking through the survey, one of the questions I asked, is where would you like to see the show go? Is it serving you in that way? And it was a resounding yes from you guys. And that was so great to see. And I had asked, do you want to see interviews? Do you want to see more solo topics? And I was really happy to hear that my intention for this show was being experienced and felt, because I want this to be a conversation. Okay. And in the podcast world, there are so many great podcasters that do interviews with some of the most prominent leaders out there in their field and out of their field. And that's awesome. And what I heard from you in the survey was you want this show to stay a conversation and not to go out into those different areas, but maybe occasionally to bring leaders on my own team to highlight some people who are up and coming, which I am excited to do this year. Probably not more than one a month, but that is the plan. So anyway, let's go through some of these questions. And before we kick off, you guys, it is such an honor to be here with you. It's such a privilege to do this work and to be able to learn and live and lead together in this way. And so this is one of my most favorite parts of the work, is connecting with you and hearing what's coming up for you. And we're all in it together, right? That's one thing I realize through and through, that we need each other. We need, the power of community in our own growth and in our own goals is huge. So if you have a question, I just popped it up into the queue, into the lower third of the show there. If you want to remain more anonymous in asking your questions, you can add them to the queue there. What you're going to find on Mondays going forward over on the Facebook page is basically a question starter. It's going to be an image asking for your questions for this week. And what I want to do going forward is take the most liked questions. Okay, so if you don't have a question, scroll through any questions that have been left and like the ones that you'd like to make sure are acknowledged on the show. What else did I want to say there? Okay, no, I think that was good. So I'm going to open up the inbox that came in. You're taking the first question, so I can stop talking.
Take a breath.
I know. All right, here we go. I'm pulling it up. Okay. I might have to take this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Tina asked, what water filtration system do you use? I noticed an Amazon link on your site, but wondered if you use the same system in your new house. We have a Santivia countertop system, but want one for our whole house. Thank you. Okay, so yes, the one that I have linked up in the shop, everything I have linked up on the new website in the shops are definitely what I'm currently using. I do update that if I come across something new that I'm loving. So what you'll see on there is a filter. It's a whole home, I think it's called the Rhino 5-gallon whole home filter, and the brand is Aquasana. And I mean, I love countertop systems, like you mentioned. Another great one is the Berkey. But I wanted to have all of our water filtered. So, first step when you're looking at water quality is to look at your drinking water quality for sure. That's where you want to start. But then you might also be interested in filtering the actual water that you're showering in, and brushing your teeth with, and bathing in. If you're a whole fit bather, this is something to look at. So yes, that is the correct one. Okay. Kathleen asked, any tips for relaunching your business? Feeling like I've lost momentum and lost interest from my wholesale customers who are already enrolled. Okay, so I want to take this to you. What do you do when you've lost momentum? I want you to think about like any area of your life. I kind of shared this on Instagram earlier this week.
I think the biggest part about when you lose that momentum, the biggest thing and probably the easiest thing that people tend to forget is to just take a step back from everything, or take a breath and go back to the basics. Go back to what excited you to get to that point at the beginning, right? You talk about losing momentum. Everyone, no matter what they're doing, loses momentum in whatever they love. That's part of life. That's going to happen. So I think that's when you need to take a step back. You don't have to do anything drastic, but do the little things that got you there in the first place, and find the little things that make you excited for what got you there in the first place. You don't have to do a major overhaul of everything, because I think we tend to gravitate towards making a big impact on making a big change. And you can't do that. You have to do the small little things in life that kind of make you excited again for what you're doing. And this lady here, clearly she's got, maybe you just look at it like this. Maybe it's the summer months that make you feel like you've lost momentum because you get out of touch with people. You don't get in the same routines. If you have kids at home, everything else like that. I'm not saying that's the case here, but I still think that whenever you go back in time and do those small little things, that'll help you kind of find your focus again.
Yep, for sure. And the summer is the reason a lot of us feel that way. You're not alone. I mean, I think the cool thing with running your own business is you get to decide. So number one, it's so empowering to realize it's all in your hands, how you want to design your time and your schedule. And for a lot of people, they need that seasonal break. They need that, summer for them is a time to picture a slingshot, right? It's got to come back a little bit. And then they really do launch forward in the fall because they want to leverage that growth energy that's happening all around us in nature, back to school. All of that is serving something new coming out of us, right? I'm going through the same process as you are if you're feeling this way right now. Every fall, and honestly, I feel this every season. There's something new being born, right? And so one thing when you mentioned get back to the basics, what I love, and Kathleen, I'm pretty sure you run a doTERRA business, yes. One of the cool things in doTERRA is we have this thing called the launch guide. I assuming you've seen it if you're building a doTERRA business. It's a uniform roadmap for launching your business. So here's what I want to encourage you to do if you're feeling like, where do I even begin? It's time to relaunch yourself. It's time to get back to the basics. And the things, the things that got you to a certain point will work again.
Yeah.
But what you do need to recognize is you're a different person than you were then. There's things you've learned along the way. So why don't you relaunch yourself, but put something new into action? And the second note I wrote down is, like, what's exciting you right now? We so often think it has to look a certain way. But if you actually pay attention to, oh, I'm really into the topics of XYZ right now, then go deep on that and teach people how to navigate that along with you. Everything that you're feeling kind of stuck in right now, as a business owner, job number one is unstuck yourself. You need to figure out what are the little actions you need to take right now to basically, get into momentum again, and then teach it. If you have a team that's kind of fizzled, they probably need to see their leader, which is you, get back in the game and get their mojo back and be, doing the things again that create business growth.
And you know what, to add to that, one of the other things is, I was just thinking when you're talking about that, is for this lady to say like she's lost momentum with her team and she doesn't feel, where she once was, it's fine to admit that. It's fine to let people know that, because you may find yourself in the same boat as everyone else, and people on your team or in your life will see that, recognize that, and think like, yeah, you know what, like I'm feeling the same way. Like, let's pick each other up here. Like, let's work on this together. I'm glad to see I'm not the only one who's feeling this way. right?
Well, yeah, 100%. That overwhelm post I mentioned on Instagram, I was blown away by how many of you were feeling the exact same way I was. And so I'm glad I opened up and shared, this is what's up and this is also what I'm doing, right? Because I think as leaders, we have a responsibility to figure it out for ourselves first. Take the time we need to get to that place. I'm not saying you have to kick it into high gear, even when you're just not feeling it all the time. But when you have that plan in place, do it. As a leader, as a business owner, it is always on you to go first. 100%. I talk about this all the time. It is not up to anyone else. If your team is not moving, if they're not in action, it's because of you. That's it. It always will be, because that trickles down through a team. I know that if my energy is in stuckness for too long, that's what will trickle through my team. So I know it's up to me to stay inspired and to stay, stay moving and stay curious and follow what's exciting me. It's not going to be the same for them, but that energy will duplicate. Okay, Annie said, what are your top tips for building your business from a starting level, like elite, to silver, where you have a team, right? Where people are kind of partnering with you in a business. I work full time and I want so badly for this business to be successful while juggling mom life too. I'm still trying to build my team up and look for leaders, and I'm determined and ready to do the work. So, the most important thing to understand when we want people to be drawn to what we are doing is we have to be believable. You are a magnet in your business. You are attracting to yourself what you mostly are, okay? And so if you are somebody committed to taking action and figuring out this time in your life, so you mentioned you're a busy mom and you work full time, you already have some pretty big barriers of entry right now to owning a business. So you have to put out the energy that you are willing to do whatever it takes to create a life that feels beautiful and authentic to you. You are willing to do whatever it takes. It means 5 a.m. mornings. It means staying up after everyone goes to bed. It means getting rid of the cable. It means asking for help where you can. It's taking that ownership of your time. And before you know it, you'll be attracting people to your team that probably have a very similar current situation of, hey, Annie, I see that you're out there making it happen, even though you're a busy mom and you're working full time. Can you teach me how? Those will be the kinds of messages that you'll receive from people. I want to touch on something. Somebody commented in the feedback form for this podcast and said, I love sending my team to your podcast. It is so motivating and da-da-da. But she said, the one thing I always feel like I need to tell them is how Ange runs her day and her time and everything with, boundaries and focus and all the things I tend to get into on this show. She always feels like she has to put a disclaimer out to her team that you're not going to be able to be at that point yet. Like everything requires a season, which by season, I don't mean like 2 months. I mean like 2 years, 3 years of, in every understanding of the word hustle. I know that word is like not everyone's favorite word, but you all get what I'm saying by that. You need to have a time where it is hard, where you're not comfortable. Growth is never comfortable, right? And so that feedback point was accurate. Sometimes the things I'm talking about on this podcast are too advanced for where you might be at. You might not be able to have all these boundaries in place with your time yet if you have not experienced the burnout that comes with giving too much. Do you know what I'm saying? You have to go through the fire sometimes in your business to learn your new way. And a lot of what I share here is a preview of where you're headed. That's so funny. I had a phone call. Only one live.
Yeah, I know.
So, that's important to acknowledge, is it's going to feel icky because you're being stretched and okay. This is a really powerful example. I shared this with a couple of people on Saturday. I think I was telling you about this too, the Tony Robbins analogy. So if your internal fire is not burning strong when you're about to start something new, you're going to quit like within weeks. We all do this. If what is actually the reason that you're doing something is not so gut-wrenching, has to happen, like if you don't have this clear vision of, I'm going to do this because it's going to create X, Y, and Z, you're going to quit. People do it every day. Okay, they quit constantly because it's not strong enough. Tony Robbins shared at Unleash Your Power, I think a couple years ago when I was there. He said, this is a powerful, easy example for people to understand what we tend to do. If there was a house on fire across the street and somebody, your neighbor came over and said, yeah, I just heard that there was a $5 bill in the kitchen of that house. Would that be enough to cause you to run into that house that's on fire? Obviously not, right? You would never risk your life because of a $5 bill sitting there. But if that same neighbor said, hey, I just heard that your mom is in that kitchen, of course you would dart for the door, or maybe wait for Chris to show up. But the point is, both scenarios involve the action of running towards that burning building, okay? And in that example, you could die, right? But so often we actually don't have a strong enough reason to head into a season of fire. And so we quit. And so the thing is, if you're starting a business, you're at such a crossroads in your life right now. This is your make or break moment to decide what you're willing to do in the event of uncomfortableness, because it's coming. If you don't feel uncomfortable in your business right now, step it up, sister, because you're actually playing super small. Your time needs to feel tight right now. There need to be ideas that are kind of coming to you, maybe you're struggling with something personally in your own life, in your own business, and you're struggling with it right now because you're the one that's meant to teach it in 3 months. So get to work, right? Think about what you're learning right now so that you can teach and help other people. Step a little closer to the fire. Okay, Christy said, hi, Ange, I can totally relate to the overwhelm and feel so grateful that you've touched on this. Speaking to other leaders recently has overwhelmed me and what they're doing, and I've been very careful not to get caught in the comparison trap or the I'm not doing enough tendency that I fall into. I've deliberately slowed down over the summer. I did keep enrolling and speaking to people, but at a slower rate. Now I'm coming back full force, and I feel like I'm behind. Do you have any suggestions on how to move forward with what's most important for my customers and for my team? Chris, I was just going to share, she's a gold leader in doTERRA. Go ahead.
What I'm picking up from this is this has to do with you comparing yourself to other people, right? You admit to it early up in the paragraph, which, okay, but then it shows its face again back at the bottom when you said, I've slowed down and I'm worried that I've lost momentum. You've only feeling like you've lost momentum because you're comparing yourself to other people. Mm-hmm. So my answer to you is you can't, and I've always said it, never compare yourself to other people, because really we don't know what's going on behind the phone, behind the computer, behind the camera, anything like that. You can't compare yourself to other people. You just follow the path that you're on. You got a game plan, execute that game plan no matter what. If you want to take time off, take time off. Have a game plan, come back at it, execute it when you're ready, execute it now, do what you need to do, but stop comparing yourself to other people. It never works that way. No one can ever get inside the head of the person that you're comparing yourself to.
You know what it makes me think of is how many of us have had, a 12 o'clock piece of cake, and then we write the whole day off. Because in our heads, we think, today hasn't been a perfect eating day, so I might as well just completely sabotage myself. Comparison works the same way. And the reality is, every single human being on this planet could find somebody who is excelling way bigger and better than them at something, okay? Every single person. And can you, imagine if we spent too much of our time in that place of looking at everything we know we need to be doing to move forward, but that we constantly keep comparing or looking for reasons why we're not good enough yet. Like, that's what we're doing when we're comparing or looking too much for the answers outside. You know, some of you do that because you feel like you have to be almost an expert before you do something. But what we need to understand is the only true way to learn something and to become the expert at it is to fail. You got to keep having little fails daily. You got to keep showing up, prepared, but not to the point that you're studying everything everyone else is doing on that particular action. So I'll give you a common example. In doTERRA, step one for a lot of people launching their business is to teach a class. It's not the way everybody has to go, but for a lot of people, that's step one. And so what do? They spend months, sometimes years, watching how everyone else teaches a class. And by the time they actually do their own class, the game's changed because they've been stuck in comparison for so long that they realize that's actually not the way to do things anymore. And if they'd only come back to a place of, yeah, I'm willing to be the student and the teacher at the same time. I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to learn as I go. That willingness is what's going to create unlimited growth for you, is not feeling like you have to be the expert at everything you do. And I mean, you know what, you guys, it's an interesting time. Social media has been humming now for a couple of years, where we saw, initially there were the early adopters on social, and they built the big audiences on every platform. And there's always like the kind of the futuristics that see what's going to be big, and they get in there and they build a huge following for themselves. And then the next phase is kind of, the early majority of people who hop in. And we're kind of, with social media, we're in that place now where everybody's on it. Everybody's sharing. And really, at the heart of social media is to connect. We want to connect with each other. We want to uplift. We want to feel like we are part of a community, right? That was the whole goal of Facebook. And yet it's turned into something that's creating a lot of anxiety for people, because they're choosing to see everything that everyone's posting as
comparison.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm not where they are. Rather than channeling that energy to inspire us in certain areas, we stay stuck there sometimes, right? And so now you're seeing people boldly closing their social media accounts. Like, they've gotten to this point where they actually can't process what's being shared there. And we have to, that's not going away. The real core issue is we have to have a better understanding of ourselves and what's exciting us, and move in that direction always. We can see what other people are doing and feel inspired. But if it's causing us to stay stuck and not actually moving forward, you have to learn to be inspired by what someone else is doing and take action fast. If you see somebody, if personal fitness is a goal of yours and you see somebody, posting a picture of a workout they're doing, and in that moment you're like, ugh, I just had a piece of cake. I'm so not them. And then you start, you're looking, before you know it, 2 hours have gone by and you've been watching every single post they've ever done over the last 2 years and feeling worse about yourself. In that moment where you're like, you're kind of inspired, kind of feeling crappy, you need to take action. You need to go out for a walk. You need to calendar something in your, make it a routine that you're going to do something at a certain time every day. Let that person inspire you. When somebody triggers you, I want you to consider that very same person you're comparing yourself to is actually here to be a teacher. They're not here to make you feel bad about yourself, but there's something about their way, about their life, that you're in a season of learning right now. Yeah.
You're pretty good.
You gotta go.
I gotta go.
You gotta go get the kids.
Yeah.
Okay. See you, babe. Okay, so Drennan asked, I had the fortune of discovering your website last week as I was researching doTERRA in regards to learning about essential oils. I feel like I hit the jackpot in terms of your holistic approach to life. So excited to have you with us. Okay. Where do you advise someone new to the community start? So Drennan is married with 2 teenagers, picky eaters, that want to focus on supplements, their food, detoxing, green cleaning, personal care. They want to do all the things. I'd love to do everything at once, but I need to take baby steps due to budget. Yes, and you actually need to take baby steps because, well, you won't do any of it if you don't take baby steps. So that's always the way to go. So Drennan, she's got herself a kit. Just kind of short forming this. She wants to pick one area to start with. What do you think would be the best one to start? Okay, so this is a really great question. When you start with doTERRA, you get your little kit of oils, right? I should mention, if anyone here is looking to start this month, connect with your doTERRA person, because the starter kits are 20% off out of the US warehouse this month. So it's a fun month to start. So when you get your little box of oils, this is the beginning of a radical overhaul for your life. And you get this kit and you get this beautiful book that talks about, all of the oils, how to use them. You get stickers in here. There's, a cleanse outline if that's something you're looking to do. But all this is good. And whatever community you're a part of in doTERRA, you'll find that that is what we do best. There are tons of resources and programs and support that you'll be connected to, and that's the power of what we do, really. So much of that you cannot even put a dollar amount on, the power of community and all the value that comes with those connections and the programs and everything. But let's identify the real issue here. When there's so much you could change, it's so easy to stay stuck and not move forward. And so I love what Drennan's identified here, that she knows she needs to pick just one little area. On WholeFit, if you go to the tools section, I have a document called The 12 Causes of Health. Little spin on what we so often refer to as the causes of disease. But in that document, I give you 12 examples. And I created that for a talk that I gave in Toronto a couple years ago to basically help people see, you can create really big shifts by just implementing a couple of small things, and really giving a change time to anchor. This can be part of the issue, is sometimes we quit on something just before it's about to anchor itself as the new way. Okay, so you have your whole life to be a student of, healthy living, increasing your vitality and your life force, and growing into more of the person you're here to be. You have your whole life to do that. So I want you to let go of that pressure to have it all figured out right away. Be open to the fact that you're only meant to focus on one thing right now. Understand that, do better in that area, and then take on something new. So pick your area. Thing is, everybody has something pressing in their life. I mean, if I was in Drennan's situation and I have, a very busy home, I have teenagers, there's so much I want to change, I would start with something that helps me experience the benefits right away. And for me, that would be doing doTERRA's Cleanse and Restore. This is actually something that going forward, I'm working into a lot of my road mapping for people who say, want to start, whether they're a customer or a business builder. I want them to cleanse their body for 30 days to really reset, right? And so that's something you guys can all find on doTERRA's website. It's actually, when you get started, the calendar for that is right at the back of the book. Okay, so you all probably already have this already if you're enrolled as a customer in doTERRA. From there, the second area I would encourage you to start is in your green cleaning, because it's actually so easy. And it makes you feel productive to eliminate responsibly all those chemicals that are in your house right now. Sometimes you have to find a safe, responsible way to dispose of them. which is a really good indication that maybe they should not be in your home, especially if you have children. But green cleaning is a really fun area for people to start. It's one of the main reasons people are drawn to the doTERRA lifestyle, especially if they have kids. Because what you're doing, focus by focus, what you're doing is you're just starting to very slowly and simply eliminate all of the exhaustion you're placing on your body in the form of stress, whether that is emotional, physical, environmental. It's the stress is distracting your body from being, its beautiful self, from high vitality. So you want to just pick an area and start. And once you've conquered that area, you go to the next. This is what makes the doTERRA lifestyle so attractive to people, is they, for the first time in their life, feel equipped with the right tools. When I first started educating on the essential oils, at that time, I had been mentoring and coaching people with their physical health as a personal trainer. For years I was doing that. Holistic nutrition, coaching people with their diet, with their food choices, starting to help them bring that full circle all together. But the missing tool that whole time was an actual in-hand tool that they could use to reduce their exposure to the, tons of other chemicals and ingredients that were coming at them, even though they were doing all this work in their food and moving their body. They were still being exposed to a lot of things that were distracting their body's vitality. So this is what, and regardless of where you start, you guys, here's the plot. Regardless of what area you start in, when you start your essential oil lifestyle, you'll get there. You'll get to all the other areas eventually. Just build up some confidence in one area so that you actually don't feel overwhelmed. Getting back to what I opened up the show with today, we always feel overwhelmed when we have way too many things we want to do or should be doing, and we're not harnessing the momentum energy that comes with just simple action, one little thing at a time. So when we're feeling overwhelmed, like you might be with your health, just pick one little area. Don't be tempted to try to fix everything all at once. All right. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do, I just want to scroll through, see if there's any great questions that came up from those of you that are live. Laura said, Ange, do you think we get caught up in over-organizing and over-planning? I have never been an uber-structured person, but I feel that is where I thrive. I get intimidated by structure and goals, such as following recipes. So is that something I should aim to change? Or do some people like myself need to find an unstructured structure that works for us? Totally need to find what works for you, because, okay, here's the thing. You only need to change if it's not working for you, right? It's such a simple idea, but there is no one way. If you are somebody who you don't like having commitments in your calendar, you don't like having a really routine day, but everything just manages to get done, then keep doing that. I'm the opposite of that, right? So just because I model blueprinting a day and batching your focus throughout the week, I have to do that or it does not get done. I don't know what it is about me and my brain, but my memory's not good. Like if I don't have a system for things, then things slip, things get missed. So absolutely not. You do not need to be this structured person unless it's affecting your health, your family, and your team. And sometimes, you might every once in a while attract somebody who's totally not like you. So for example, Laura, if you don't like being structured, and you have somebody who joins you and they need structure, you find someone who excels in that and you tap them into that. Like, I'm a very structured person. A lot of the tools I create are around focus and productivity and just really scheduling everything. I've shared this before. I use my calendar for everything. Like, everything is on there. I know exactly what I'm doing every day. And I'm not a good person to message if you want to quickly come by for a coffee, or if you want, I don't even answer my phone when it rings for that reason, because I can't afford to get, shifted in my focus. So there's negatives to that for sure as well, just like there is with the other side of it. So you have to find your way. I'm glad you asked that question, because that's a really common one. Comments are so sweet, you guys. Just seeing who's on here. Okay, let me just hop over to Instagram and then we'll close up the show. I just want to see if there's anything else I wanted to make sure I went through with you guys. How we doing, Insta? Got about 100 people over there. Yeah, Essential Oil Parlor said for people wanting to gain clarity in their business, I'd recommend a cleanse as well. It massively helps you reset everything. That is so true. You cannot make a lot of very effective decisions in a clogged body. I actually shared on YouTube last week, I just wrapped up the 30-day cleanse I run for our team twice a year. I did a wrap-up video because I thought there was value in sharing just my direction to them going forward, and what's truly happening when you're cleansing. If you are a business owner, you need a clear mind. And that is a lot of the reason that we supplement with clean supplements that doTERRA offers, and we eliminate a lot of the essential oils. I just had something hit me quick as a download. So in doTERRA, we see this like explosive growth. Like this year at doTERRA's convention, there are, at the diamond level alone, there are, I think, at least 300 new people being recognized as diamond. That just hit in this year. Now, this is a level in a business that creates multiple six figures for that leader a year. In most situations, in most business models, that takes 10 years at least to create that kind of income for yourself. In 1 year, we're recognizing at least 300 at doTERRA's convention. And here's what I was just thinking about. Like, it really quickly came to me. What if one of the main reasons that doTERRA is growing so rapidly, it's the largest network marketing company in the US, and very soon will be in Canada, if not already. I think those numbers are just about there. What if the whole reason that that's happening is not just because the product is incredible? What if it's because the actual mindset and brain of these leaders is so clear that they can take aligned action in their business? I want you to consider that for a moment. If you're clogged, there's not a lot of good coming through and out, because there's a lot that your body's trying to process and heal. So, when we think of people who inspire us, what we're seeing in somebody inspiring is somebody who is a vehicle, a clear vehicle. Through what they do, they're an example to us because they're so clear. They're clear on what they need to do. They take massive action in their life. They don't apologize for anything because they're so clear on what they need to do. It's one of my, my visions for my own life is to be a clear example of a woman owning her health, owning her success, owning her role as a mother in a world where there can be so much judgment around what we do. I need to be clear so that that work can continue to pour out of me. What if that is the reason, you guys? Just something to think about. Okay, a few more on Instagram I'll take and then we'll wrap. Healthy for Tomorrow said, how do you cleanse while pregnant? You don't. Your body is growing a human being. Also, if you're breastfeeding, I always get that question too. That is not the time to shift your body's attention towards something else. You are already doing the most massive thing your body will ever do. So honor that, eat well, get your sleep, drink your water, eat your fats, but do not be cleansing your body during that time. Sarah said, hey, Ange, is there a resource I can look to for the process of starting a business for a retail location, such as a gym? Sarah, I'm just thinking if there's anything like universal that doTERRA has. I have a retail toolkit that we will post in the show notes that I created for our team. And it's just some simple guidance. But to be honest, I don't know of too many retail businesses that are killing it in that space, because retail entrepreneurs, whether it's a gym owner or a spa owner or a health club owner, they are so accustomed to, if they're going to do retail, they want a lot of flow through of income in order to do it. And with doTERRA, they don't discount that too heavily. And really, doTERRA's model was initially created to create community and to really help people along as we're all finding our way home, which is why it had to be network marketing. So selling the essential oils at retail, it never seems to really grow deep legs, because at the end of the day, you have to help a business owner see the big picture. They have to be passionate about creating community, right? So there are some obstacles there, but we'll post the link. Oh, good. Okay, you guys are really resonating with some of the topics today. Awesome. Okay. All right, so let me just grab my wrap-up notes. I have one pressing question for you. Okay, here's my question. I want to make sure that the questions and topics that come up for this show, because I do this show entirely as a way to connect, to be here for you, to give back. This is one of my favorite ways to do that. I want to make sure it serves you. Do you guys prefer to send your questions in anonymously? Or do you like the idea of the question queue, where you can add your question each week and have people like it to make sure that that is the question that gets acknowledged that week? As we get picking up in the season, you know, there's a lot of questions that come in through the question queue. So sometimes I have no way of knowing, you know, unless there's a very consistent question that's being asked. I like the idea of having you like the questions that you want to make sure get answered. Or do you prefer this, rapid fire, just acknowledging the questions that come up live? Okay, here's what we'll do. Can you just drop in the comments an A if you want the questions that are addressed to just come through the form, the question queue. B, if you like the idea of liking each other's, you know, comments below the image I post every Monday, like which ones you want to make sure get asked. Or C, do you like this show whenever I do Q&A to be more in the moment for those of you that show up live? So drop a comment, A, B, or C. I see some B's, I see some C's. Okay, you guys it sounds like you're liking that idea of the image. I see a lot of B's coming in on Instagram. How about Facebook? That image would post every Monday at 10 a.m. If you are a structured person and want to write that down in your calendar, you can look for that. And you know, if you don't have a question that week, just like the ones that other people have left. And I'll take the top 5 or 7 of the hottest questions that week. I do pay attention to the topics you guys have written into, whether it be on the survey or some of the longer form questions that have come in through the anonymous form. I do pay attention to that to see if there's a topic. I have quite a few really juicy topics coming up this season. So what I see the show evolving to this year is probably 2 Q&As a month and 2 more focused topics a month, with the odd interview here and there throughout the year. Okay, lots of B's and C's. Rachel said D. Question Q. Thank you, Jill. Okay, yeah, keep weighing in if you're watching this as a recording. I just want to find out what your preferred way is to have a voice with the show. You know, this show, you know, I don't know how many of you were on a couple of years ago when I started it as a Periscope when that first came out. Built a pretty awesome, consistent community there in Periscope where I would show up and I would just do the rapid fire Q&A. And this is what it eventually evolved to, is me streaming live initially, because that's just one of the formats I love. I love live video. I love feeling connected to you in this way. And then, of course, I upload this to YouTube, so it's there. Some of you like to watch the video recordings there. But probably the most preferred way that a lot of people tune into the show is through iTunes as a podcast. It's actually also a podcast over on Spotify. So there, of course, you don't get the video, but I do want to just make sure that this continues to be a show where we can have the right conversations at the right time. I love, I do feel that whatever I'm experiencing in my role as a mother, as a leader of a large global wellness organization, I feel tapped in. I feel more tapped in as a leader with what's really going on based on your questions. So I super appreciate them. I think they help us make sure we're focusing on the right things. Okie dokie. Combo of all three. Stephanie said, how can we meet you at convention? I'm going to be in track A, otherwise known as the arena you can't bring coffee into. Got to figure that one out. So I'll be at track A. So I'll be at the early morning ones. I will be at the Empowered Success Day as well. So would love to see you there. But, I just feel like you find the people you're really looking for. I meet a lot of people on my way to the bathroom, in the hallways. It's crazy energy. All right, we lost Instagram because we've been over an hour today. I would love to get this show down to 30, 40 minutes. Maybe that will be something we are able to do if the questions are really clear and I know exactly where we want to go. But anyway, hey, you guys, thank you for joining in for the kickoff show of this season. Your homework for today, for this week, I want to gently nudge or encourage you to explore the 3 questions I shared earlier this week when I talked about being in a state of overwhelm. These are 3 questions that I'm personally journaling on this week as I identify what needs to come out of me next, okay? So question 1 for your homework is, what did you say yes to recently that you should have said no to? Often when we're in a state of overwhelm, and that topic was, a lot of today's topic was on that, being in that state of feeling like I don't know how to get back my mojo. What did you recently say yes to that you should have said no to? Question 2, where have you not been communicating clearly enough or asking for the help you need? And I want to give you an example. So what I realized, here's my own tendency. It's not a good one. What I do when the wheels are starting to fall off for me, I swoop in and I start to do everything. I don't ask for help. Almost so I can get to this place of resenting people. And it was not good a couple of days ago. I'll tell you, I was in this place where I just felt like I was carrying the world on my shoulders, where I felt like things were not balanced. And not with one particular thing, but in our house and in my business. And just, I felt like I'd taken it all on. And so I sat with Chris and I said, I need help. I'm sorry I haven't communicated with you what I need. And, because we had a much busier summer than I guess what I anticipated, everything was just kind of crashing, I felt, at the end of summer. Right? And so what we established going forward we're going to do is every Sunday afternoon, he and I are going to have a life meeting. And we're going to look at the week ahead and think about what we can take on together. And a simple thing, right? Totally doable, because he doesn't want to see me in that state either, right? But it just created so much freedom and a much deeper breath. Just that one simple implementation of a Sunday afternoon, looking at the week together, rather than me taking everything on myself and trying to make it easy on everybody. I just felt so much more supported just through that one little action. So that's question 2. Where and how can you ask for the help you need? And then the last question for homework today is, where do you go from here? What is your plan for the fall? One of the things you'll find in that blog post I mentioned I'm going to write this week on the gathering I held with my leaders, where we're just having them think about their physical health, their emotional health, their nutrition, and their business. What is one thing? It can be super small, but what is one action you're committed to for the fall? writing that new plan, writing that new normal for yourself. The cool thing is, come January, you'll be that person that you're wanting to move towards right now, okay? So that's it. I plan to give you a little homework, a little action every week just to help anchor some of the conversation that we talked about. I was thinking that next week I would do the topic, since we have a lot of new people here and I launched the new Whole Fit website. Something I've been thinking about lately, and we talked about the comparison thing today a little bit, just how important it is that we start, that we realize that everybody has to start somewhere. And so I thought next week I would do the topic of, here we are right now, but where was I 10 years ago? And I'll share next week a recent interview that I did on a podcast that really got me thinking about this topic. And I want to show you guys that we all have to start somewhere. There are things I do today that might appear to be great, that I had to fail through 10 years ago in the beginning. So I thought I would kind of reel it back as a way to welcome a lot of the new people and just to have something to refer you to when you think someone like me has it pretty much together. We all have to start somewhere. We're all learning, we're all teaching, we're all guiding. So don't get down on yourself if you feel like, you're stuck in that comparison trap. Just take action in some small way, okay? Okay. Peace out, you guys. I will see you next week, next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your neighbor. We'll see you then.